Imagine a place where ancient silence speaks the loudest. A place where the sun paints with light and shadow, and every rustle tells a story older than time itself. This is Virunga Bwindi. But what happens when that peace is shattered by a single, desperate cry for help? And what do we do when compassion becomes more powerful than instinct? The morning sun, a shy intruder, painted the dense canopy of the Virunga Bwindi forest in strokes of liquid gold. It was a place where silence was not an absence of sound, but a symphony of life. The rustle of leaves, the distant call of a turco, the low hum of insects. The air, thick with the scent of damp earth and wild orchids, felt ancient and alive. This was the kingdom of the mountain gorillas, and their day had begun. A troop of gorillas moved with practiced grace through the undergrowth. Their powerful frames, draped in thick, black fur, seemed to flow like a dark river through the green landscape. They foraged patiently, plucking succulent leaves and sweet wild berries, their movements a perfect harmony with their surroundings. At the heart of this family was Baku, the silverback, a magnificent creature whose age and experience were etched into every gentle furrow of his face. His presence was a silent promise of safety, his gaze a steady anchor for the entire troop. His deep, resonant rumblings were a constant, comforting presence, a reminder that they were all safe under his watchful eye. Among them was Tano, a young gorilla whose heart beat with a different rhythm, one of boundless curiosity. While the others moved with calm deliberation, Tano's eyes darted everywhere, his hands reaching for every new texture, his small feet eager to explore. His mother watched him with a quiet, maternal vigilance, her hand occasionally reaching out to gently guide him back towards the group. But this morning, Tano's curiosity was a powerful current, pulling him ever so slightly away from the familiar circle of his family and towards the uncharted wonders of the forest. The allure of the unknown was too great for his young, adventurous spirit to resist. He was drawn by a flash of brilliant color. Perched on a low-hanging branch, a crimson-winged forest robin preened its feathers, a living jewel in the dappled light. Tano watched, mesmerized. The bird, seemingly unafraid, hopped down to a fallen log, then darted into a thicket of ferns. Tano, his young mind consumed by the chase, followed without a second thought. The playful chirps of the robin became a siren's call, luring him deeper into the jungle's embrace. The ground beneath his feet grew softer, the light dimmer, and the air heavier with the scent of decay. As he chased the beautiful bird, the familiar sounds of his troop faded. The gentle rumblings of his father and the reassuring calls of his mother were replaced by the mysterious whispers of the jungle. Tano was no longer in the comfortable, open space of his family's path. He was in a world of shadows, a maze of gnarled roots and tangled vines. The ground, once firm and mossy, was now a treacherous carpet of decaying leaves, hiding unseen dangers. The playful music in his head began to slow, replaced by a low, almost imperceptible hum of unease. He was a small ship, drifting far from the shore, his innocent joy slowly overshadowed by the creeping sense of isolation. The crimson bird finally landed on a patch of moss, its wings folded, its tiny head cocked as if waiting for him. With a triumphant chirp, Tano lunged forward, his hand outstretched to touch the vibrant feathers. But his hand met nothing but air. In that very instant, a different kind of movement exploded from the leaf litter. It was a silent, ancient coil of muscle and scale, a massive African rock python. This predator, a master of camouflage, had been waiting patiently, its cold eyes fixed on the small, curious creature. The snake's strike was lightning fast, a terrifying blur of motion. Tano's hand never touched the bird. Instead, the cold, powerful body of the python wrapped around his torso, its coils tightening with an inhuman, deliberate strength that stole his breath. Tano's playful chirps turned into a single, piercing shriek of pure terror. The sound, raw and desperate, tore through the silence of the forest, echoing off the ancient trees before being swallowed by the vast green expanse. It was the sound of a child in mortal danger, a sound that no parent in any species could ever ignore. The jungle, for a moment, held its breath, witnessing the cruel and unforgiving law of nature. Back in the sunlit part of the forest, Baku's head snapped up. His movements, usually slow and measured, were now quick and decisive. The faint cry had reached him, a sound carried on the wind, a distress signal only a father could truly understand. With a thunderous roar that shook the very ground, he broke away from the troop and charged headlong into the shadows, his immense body a force of nature driven by a singular, primal instinct to protect his own. His powerful arms pushed aside thorny vines and dense foliage with ease, his focus unshakable. David, a park ranger with 10 years of experience navigating Virunga, Windy, was patrolling nearby. He was a quiet man, but his senses were as sharp as any animal's. He heard the shriek, too. It was not the usual sound of the jungle. It was a sound of pure fear. He dropped his pack and ran, his boots pounding a new rhythm into the forest floor, his mind racing to decipher the source of the danger. He knew the sounds of the jungle intimately, and this was a sound of a life being taken. The two forces, one driven by instinct, the other by a duty of care, arrived at the scene almost simultaneously. Baku, a mountain of black fur and unbridled fury, stood face to face with the python, roaring in a display of power that was both magnificent and terrifying. He was a wall of muscle between the predator and his child. David, arriving just moments later, took in the scene with a practiced, unflinching eye. He saw the python's coils, thick as a man's thigh, wrapped tightly around the small, trembling body of Tano. He saw Baku, his chest heaving, ready to tear the snake apart with his bare hands. But he also saw the python's own defensive power and the danger of Baku's direct approach. A rash move from either of them could be fatal for the young gorilla. A silent, impossible understanding passed between man and beast. Without a word, he moved not to confront the gorilla, but to a nearby fallen log, where he found a sturdy, thick branch. He grasped it, not as a weapon, but as a tool. He would not fight the snake alone. He would not fight Baku. He would work with him, two different hearts united by one goal. The rescue was a synchronized, desperate dance. Baku, with his incredible strength, pulled at the thickest part of the python's body, attempting to uncoil it from Tano. David, using the branch as a lever, carefully wedged it between the snake's powerful coils, prying them open one by one. The air was thick with tension, with the grunts of Baku, the straining muscles of David, and the hissing resistance of the python. Every second was a battle, a test of their unexpected alliance. The immense force of the snake was formidable, but the combined effort of the man and the gorilla proved stronger. Finally, with a last, monumental pull from Baku and a final cry from David, the python's grip gave way. It loosened its hold, its long body slithering back into the deep undergrowth, defeated and disappearing without a trace. Tano, his small body trembling violently from the ordeal, was free. Baku didn't hesitate. He gently wrapped his huge arms around the young gorilla, pulling him into the safe, warm, and profoundly comforting embrace of his chest. David stood back, his own heart pounding with relief. He watched the silverback hold his son, a quiet, peaceful smile spreading across his face, a silent bond of respect passing between them. He felt a deep sense of peace and gratitude, a rare moment where his role as a ranger felt more like a part of the forest's beating heart. The forest seemed to exhale. The sounds of nature returned to their peaceful rhythm, a gentle hum of life and continuity. Tano was safe. The troop was whole. A man and a gorilla, driven by a shared instinct to protect the innocent, had proven that empathy can transcend species, and that in the face of danger, compassion is the greatest force of all. The light that filled the Virunga windy forest that day was not just the morning sun. It was the warmth of hope, a beacon of a shared, quiet humanity in the heart of the wild. The story you just witnessed is a powerful reminder that in our world, connection, and empathy can transcend all boundaries, even between species. We're left to wonder, what moments in your life have shown you the true power of compassion? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story moved you, please consider subscribing to our channel and hitting that bell icon. Your support helps us tell more stories of hope, connection, and the extraordinary bonds that tie us all together.